Stay off the weed.
Welcome back to Banging the Can, the Houston sports show that does not apologize for championship rings and tings, presented by Bolen Media. I am your host, Ross Bolen, and today we are going to get into the last couple weeks of Astros baseball, the Chas McCormick banana pudding controversy, and what to expect from the final 18 games of this MLB season, because that's all we have left, 18 games before the postseason starts. But first, it's time to talk Houston Texans football, because football is back, and for the first football season in a long time as Texans fans, we have a lot to look forward to. Or do we? Let's dive in. So at this point, you should be aware the Texans lost to the Ravens in Baltimore 25-9, but we had the largest point spread of week one at plus 9.5. So if you expected us to win this game on the road with a rookie head coach in his first game, with a rookie QB in his first game, with 3 backup offensive linemen, including a rookie center, you are smoking or sipping too much of the good shit, possibly both. This game was way less about winning and losing and way more about showing progress, making positive steps forward, showing potential, right? And setting the tone for the rest of the season by not getting embarrassed, because that's what has been a frustrating part about being a Texans fan for the last several years. It's not just that they lose. It's that they lose in embarrassing fashion. They look like they don't even belong on the same field, much less the same league as the teams we get destroyed by. Totally clueless, without a cohesive game plan, without any real leadership. And we don't want those vibes anymore. We're all sick of those vibes. Those vibes are trash. And we are sick and tired of being a laughingstock. The reason we were all so excited by the DeMeco Ryans signing, by the Texans seemingly realizing they needed a talent pool reset and acting on that in the NFL draft, was because this football franchise needed a hard reset. And hard and strong, not soft and weak. And thank God, thank DeMeco Ryans, this was not an embarrassment. And we absolutely looked like we belonged on the field with the Baltimore Ravens, especially in the first half, especially when you factor in the fact that rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud was facing off against Lamar Jackson in his first ever NFL start behind 3 backup offensive linemen and a rookie center with a rookie head coach. They looked like they had a real game plan on both sides of the ball. They looked like they had a real adult grown man football team with leadership and poise. And it has been a while in Houston since we have seen that. One of the most important questions after game one is obviously, how did C.J. Stroud look? We've had too much disappointment with quarterbacks on this team, and after expending the number 2 pick in last year's draft to grab C.J. Stroud, the last thing we needed was to see him suck ass and look like a clueless clown out there. What I needed perhaps more than anything yesterday was to see C.J. Stroud look like a competent, calm, cool, and collected professional quarterback with potential. And I'm here to tell you that he absolutely did. As I said on Twitter, C.J. Stroud appears to have the ability to cook at the NFL level. We'll have to wait until he has a real offensive line to evaluate him more accurately. But the tools are there. Thank you, God. CJ moved well in the pocket, showed the ability to scramble, showed the ability to spin the ball downfield when they gave him the chance, which wasn't often. He showed poise. He did not look scared or like the moment was too big for him. He did not play like a hesitant rookie. I was extremely impressed by CJ Stroud in his NFL debut. Yes, he made some mistakes, as expected. His accuracy wasn't overly impressive. He forced some passes that made me clutch my family jewels and gasp. But overall, considering the circumstances and the pressure and the opposition on the road, this was an extremely promising look at CJ Stroud that I am extremely happy with. 28 completions on 44 attempts with 242 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, but also 0 interceptions. That's as good of a stat line as Davis Mills achieved all season last year, and this was CJ Stroud's first freaking game in his first freaking season. It's not bad. The potential is there. The leadership abilities are extremely apparent. And if we'd had any semblance of a balanced attack with the running game or any blocking from the offensive line, we had a legitimate chance to win this game, which that I didn't expect. CJ's 2 targets of choice were Nico Collins and Robert Woods, with Nico pulling in 6 receptions on 11 targets for 80 yards at an average of 13.3 yards per reception, and Robert Woods pulling in 6 receptions on 10 targets for 57 yards at an average of 9.5 per reception. I think it's safe to assume those 2 guys are our main receivers this season, with rookie Tank Dell also mixed in there. And there wasn't much to complain about from the receiving core in this one. They looked decent enough, right? Hopefully improve over the course of the season. Hopefully next season we can bolster it even further. But, the pieces are there. He's going to have guys to throw to, is the point. And that's all we wanted to see in game 1, right? Dameon Pierce, running back, really struggled though. 11 rushes for 38 yards at 3.6 yards per carry, which frankly is not going to get it done. But also, frankly, was way more about the makeshift offensive line than it was about Dameon Pierce's ability to find space and pick up chunk yardage. I saw a lot of people overreacting to this game. Like we had a real offensive line out there, which we didn't. We did not have a real offensive line out there. This is the last time I will say it, at least today. But an offensive line comprised of 3 backups, including a rookie center, is really not something you should be expecting to find a lot of success behind. Not if you live in reality, okay? Not in the NFL. We know Dameon Pierce can be better than we saw him week 1. We've now seen that CJ Stroud has the tools to be something legitimate in this league. But much of the offense's success moving forward will be about whether or not the offensive line can get healthy or DeMeco Ryans can cobble together a more effective blocking scheme to protect the quarterback and open up running lanes for the running back. If we can't do those things, we're not going to win very many games. We're not. So all things considered, I would give the offense's performance week 1 against the Baltimore Ravens a C+. I would bump them up to a B-, but failing to find the end zone and score a touchdown, instead only scoring with 3 field goals from Fairbairn, doesn't feel like it's worthy of a B grade. But it wasn't that bad. It was better than we've gotten used to seeing from this team, and all of that with a rookie quarterback and a makeshift offensive line on the road against the Baltimore Ravens, who are supposed to be fairly good. So it's hard to complain, right? Defensively, this game was a tale of 2 halves. The first half, the defense looked more than competent, allowing only 7 points in the form of 1 first-quarter touchdown. They held Lamar Jackson to just 60 passing yards in the first half. Baltimore scored just 7 points through the first 2 quarters. So we went into halftime down 7-6, which was extremely promising and extremely terrifying for everyone who took the Ravens in survivor leagues. We created turnovers. We didn't give up any big plays. All was well. Then came the second half, and the wheels sort of fell off defensively without safety Jalen Pitre, who's sustained a bruised lung in the first half. He took a knee to the chest from Lamar Jackson. And the second half, as a result, was kind of all around rough to watch, tough to watch. Looked like the past that we're trying to move on from. The offense still couldn't get shit going on the ground. The defense was giving up more easy plays, missing more assignments. And when you put that all together, you're going to get a loss. But to focus more on the positives, Will Anderson Jr., who the Texans traded up to take at number 3 in the NFL draft, looked exactly like what we hoped for. He finished with 6 tackles, 6 pressures, 2 QB hits, and he became the first rookie in Texans history to record a sack in week 1 of his career. And he pressured Jackson when Lamar threw his interception in the first half. Will Anderson Jr. looks like he could be the monster that we hoped for, which is great. It's great. All in all, this was a good start to this new era of Houston Texans football, which was the only thing I was asking for going into this game. I just wanted to see the positive momentum. My expectations were they didn't even exist. I just wanted to see positive growth. I just wanted to see things that would make my brain think, oh, that's good. That's good. We can build on this. And that's what we got. That's what we got. It wasn't bad. Like I said, if you were expecting a win, you were really putting yourself up against it. They've got to get the offensive line right for us to have a chance against good teams this year, or we will definitely see some games where our offense fails to keep up and we get blown out by explosive teams, because pretty obviously through 1 week, the offensive side of the ball is where we are going to struggle the most. All right. For the most part, though, I think the defense will continue to improve as the season goes and will keep us in most games so that we are at least avoiding embarrassment, which is what I really, really liked about yesterday. Getting embarrassed, watching embarrassing games with embarrassing plays and embarrassing quarterbacks, embarrassing defense. That has gotten so old. I'm so sick of it. It's the thing that makes me dread tuning in to Houston Texans football on Sundays, almost always at noon. Because I leave the game more unhappy than I was going in. And that sucks. As Texans fans, that's what we've been dealing with year after year after year, the last several years. And it's brutal. It's brutal. New head coach DeMeco Ryans did everything I could have asked for this week. He showed positivity. He showed energy. He went for 2 fourth-down conversions that didn't pan out. Didn't pan out, mind you. They were a little shaky from a play-calling perspective, but seemed absolutely warranted and necessary. Neither of which cost us the game by any means. DeMeco was giving positive reinforcement to dudes who made shit happen. He was communicative. He remained upbeat throughout the entire game, even when things didn't go our way. All right? I love the hire even more now than I have, now that I've seen him operate in a regular season game on the road. I've got nothing bad to say about DeMeco Ryans this week. I thought he put the best possible product on the field when you consider the circumstances and the banged up offensive line and the injury that occurred to our safety defensively. I really, 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 really liked what I saw from DeMeco. And it seems like we have the right head coach for the job, just like it seems like we have the right quarterback of the future back there behind center, behind a rookie center, taking the snaps. So next week, for game 2, week 2, we play the Indianapolis Colts at home. And this will be our first game with real expectations. I expect to win. No excuses. They've got a rookie quarterback too. Now that we've seen this team's potential, now that we've seen C.J. Stroud is more than competent and has all the tools, now that we've seen the defense can really hold their own, there is no reason we should lose to the Colts at home. I would say the Colts had a performance against the Jaguars week 1 that was pretty much on par with what we had against the Ravens week 1. But that being said, it's in our house. And if you really want to start this new era off on a positive note, you get a week 2 win against the Indianapolis Colts. By the way, since we're going to be home next week at Reliant Stadium, and since we're in a new era of Houston Texans football, I realize that this is not going to happen, but my request is that we finally walk away from the "It's football time in Houston" song. Can we turn the page on that? Can we let that thing go? Has it ever done us any good? It drums up nothing but bad juju and negative memories. I would love to leave that song behind and move into this new era fresh. Find something else. Fire up Thunderstruck. Whatever, anything but the "It's football time in Houston and we're ready to play." That song stinks. The history with that song stinks. And I hate that we're going to have to listen to it again, which I know we will. I'm just asking if anybody within the Texans organization is listening to this podcast and has the power to make it stop. Please do. Find a way. Lose the MP3. Lose that USB drive. Let's move on from that fucking song. That thing stinks. It stinks. It sucks. It's the worst. So, to cap things off, regardless of the week 1 loss, I think if you are a realistic person with healthy expectations for this team, you have to be happy with what you saw on the field. You have to be looking forward to this season more than any of the last several. And personally, I'm looking for 6 wins, maybe 7 if we catch some good breaks. And I'm looking to avoid embarrassment, to avoid looking unprepared, to avoid looking like we don't have a real game plan, to avoid looking like quitters and losers. That's what I want from this team. And if we can do those things, I will call this season a rousing success. That's all I'm asking for. That's all you should be asking for. Growth, positive momentum each week, trying out new things, making play calls that don't seem like they were made by a fucking 8-year-old playing Madden. That's what we want. That's what we got through 1 week. We're dealing with some injuries. That's not good. You don't like to see that. But every team in the NFL deals with injuries. That's not an excuse. And the only thing you could really ask for in terms of the front office, in terms of coaching, in terms of the personnel, in terms of the play you saw on the field week 1, is that we maybe do something about the fact that there's no fucking blocking in the offensive line. That is obviously not good. And that is obviously something that we are fairly used to at this point. We really only had 2 guys who would be starters on any NFL offensive line starting yesterday, and it didn't go fucking well, did it? No. So maybe we should focus more on bolstering the offensive line, because the decisions that were made in the offseason, combined with the health of the guys that we've got there on the roster, currently, it's not a good situation for C.J. Stroud. It's not a good situation for Dameon Pierce. It's not a good situation for our offense at all. So that's one blatantly obvious area we have to improve. But overall, week 1, season 1 of this new era in Houston Texans football was a positive loss. Which, again, all I'm asking for is positivity. Go Texans. One thing about Houston that you better make peace with if you want to survive, it's very, very hot. Not just in the summer. Summer is like a year-long thing here in Houston, and if you don't dress accordingly, you will die accordingly. Fortunately, Bird Dogs will have you looking good and feeling good all summer long in the most comfortable and versatile shorts, pants, and bathing suits in the entire world. Today's episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Wow, what a coincidence. I've been wearing Bird Dogs for several years now. I'm wearing a pair right now as we speak. They cannot be beaten. I wear them to sleep. I wear them to do yard work. I wear them to go to the pool. I wear them to work out. I wear them to do everything. They fit great, they feel great, and they look great. They're insanely comfortable. They come in a variety of different designs, all with funny names like the Art Fart Knockers, Duffy the Vampire Slayers, Uncle Bucks, Teddy Rubskins, the Forest Pumps, which I'm currently wearing on my body. Also Marco Pool Boys, Zero Dark 30s, Tight Wads. I have an entire drawer of my dresser occupied solely by Bird Dogs, like 20 pairs of them in there. So if you want to look like money while you're working in the yard or hooping on the court, swimming at the pool, Bird Dogs are the move, friend. And their pants, great for the golf course or the office or going out to dinner or hitting the bars. They look great. No one will have any freaking clue you are as comfortable as you are because they look so sharp. Hashtag versatile. Also now they've got great looking polo shirts that are just as comfortable as the shorts. Click the link in the description below to go to birddogs.com/BTC. Enter code BTC at checkout and they will throw in a free Bird Dogs tech hat with every order. It's a great hat. I got my hat with my last order. I've been wearing it. Beautiful Bird Dogs hat for free when you go to birddogs.com/BTC, as in banging the can, and use code BTC at checkout. Birddogs.com/BTC, code BTC for that free tech hat with your order. Now, as far as the Houston Astros go, this has been a whirlwind couple weeks. The ups and downs of old baseball season. We swept the Red Sox in Boston. Then we got swept by the Yankees at home. Then we swept the Rangers in Arlington. It was like a back and forth pendulum of people wanting Dusty Baker to be fired and saying we were going to miss the postseason entirely, to us leading the division by 2.5 games over the Mariners and 3 games over the Rangers as of this Monday morning. On Sunday, we wrapped up our 3-game series against the Padres with another win. Finally got the offense fired up at home in Minute Maid, scoring 7 and 12 runs in the final 2 games of the series against the Padres, both winners, which was enormous. Huge for a team that's been struggling offensively at home all season long. You hear people talking about like, oh yeah, the batter's eye at Minute Maid is affecting the... Why are the other teams able to score runs? There's no excuses for that. The batter's eyes never come up. Before they're saying there's like too many things back there, the batters are distracted when they should. I don't want to hear any of that shit. Nobody wants to hear any of that shit. I will say this. The distractions around this ball club over the past few weeks have been numerable and annoying from a fan's perspective. The sector of the fan base that is active on social media, Astros fans on Twitter in particular, absolutely refuse to stop living and dying with every series, even though everyone in the history of baseball with a brain will tell you that is a terrible way to go. That's a horrible way to live your life. That is not how baseball fucking works. And yet it is happening. I've said it before, but it needs to be reiterated. We are an incredibly spoiled baseball fan base at this point, having been to 4 World Series out of the last 6 and having won 2 of them. We are spoiled. People have lost their grip on reality, on normalcy. And it is getting out of control. When The Athletic dropped a column from Chandler Rome about the alleged frustration within the organization surrounding Chas McCormick's playing time, including accusations that Dusty Baker has had issues with Chaz's weight, people online were absolutely melting down. Here's a fun Houston Chronicle column title that you don't want to see in September. Astros, Dusty Baker denies having issue with Chas McCormick's weight. And here's the subheader. Houston's manager says he brings the outfielder banana pudding, quote, once a week, end quote. I feel bad for Dusty Baker at this point. Like, genuinely bad. Which is crazy, because he's had one of the coolest lives and most successful careers on the baseball field of anyone ever in the history of man. I should not have to be feeling bad for this old man. Like, I can't believe I'm even saying it. I shouldn't have to feel bad for the defending champion manager holding a 2.5 game lead over the division with less than 3 weeks of baseball left in the season, but that's where I'm at. The narratives surrounding Dusty's alleged incompetence are insulting, they're repetitive, they're boring, they're idiotic, in my opinion. This has got to stop. You got to stop. Pull yourself together, people. The argument that he always favors veteran players over younger ones, regardless of stats, is tired and shameful. It doesn't even matter at this point if it's kind of true. Because you people who are bitching and moaning about Dusty Baker week after week after week, where's the praise when things go the other way? Where's the positivity on the other side? You can't complain incessantly when things are going poorly, like during the Yankees series, and then not say shit when we do like 6-2 the next 8 games or something like that. I don't understand why you people are living the way that you are living, but I refuse to join you in negative town. And I am generally, historically, through 36 years of life, prone to pessimism. So if I'm not with you, then you're probably lost. And that's where you're at if you're still complaining about Dusty every week or at all. We just won the World Series. We're leading the division. If you're focused every game on Dusty Baker and not the performance of the players on the field who actually swing the bat, throw the ball, and flash the leather, you are confused and weird. All right, look, it's a blessing that we have so many talented players on our roster that our manager has to spend all season tinkering with lineups and trying to figure out who is most effective where. But it has been a cursed season in terms of injuries, which people seem to forget over and over again. How many games has Jose Altuve missed? How many games has Yordan Alvarez missed? How long did it take Jose Abreu to get his shit together? And then he got hurt. Jeremy Pena was a mess with a bat in his hand for the first half of the season. Michael Brantley finally showed up last week? Yet we are leading the division by 2.5 games on September 11th, never forget, having won 5 of our last 6 games. Yet we rank 4th in the league in batting average, 5th in runs, 8th in home runs, even with everything I just said. You have to take all these things into consideration when you're judging the performance of the team. It can't just be, well, we have all these guys. The injuries have been hellacious season in terms of injuries, and yet here we stand. How do you not credit Dusty Baker for his management of this team during a disastrous season injuries-wise? How? He's the one who has kept us in the position that we are in. We played the bulk of the season down 3 starting pitchers, and you people are complaining? Unbelievable. The Astros offense is clicking on all cylinders now. We're scoring like 15 fucking runs a game. And minus a few weird games against the Yankees, the offense has looked everything we expected it to be. Everything we hoped for coming into this season. The negativity, the complaining, the couch managers, all of this shit has to stop. October is coming. And we are still here. We are still the defending champions, even if a ruthlessly annoying section of our fan base refuses to acknowledge it and act like it. Now we have 6 games starting today, starting Monday, September 11th, 2023. Now we have 6 games against 2 of the worst teams in baseball. 3 against the Oakland Athletics at home, then 3 against the Royals on the road. Getting a slight division lead under our belt before this 6 games was enormous. During the stretch that we play the Athletics and the Royals, 2 of the worst teams in the league, during that stretch, the Mariners will play the Angels while the Rangers play the Blue Jays. Then the Mariners will play the Dodgers while the Rangers play the Guardians. So we are in a position this week to expand upon our division lead and really set the tone going into the final couple weeks of September and the final couple weeks of the regular season. Has it been a stressful season as Astros fans? Yes. Has it been confusing to see the lineup changes every single game and see the carousel of outfielders and the constant tinkering with the batting order? Yes. Have there been reasons to question whether or not this team has what it takes to get into the postseason in a division that is clearly competitive for the first time in several seasons? Sure, I guess. But this is how baseball usually works. It's rare that one team just crushes the competition in their division season after season, the way that the Astros have since 2017. And our utterly and completely spoiled fan base seems to have forgotten that here in America, we embrace competition. We embrace the thrill of battle. And that's exactly what we are getting. Competition. A real fight. That's exactly what the Astros are doing. They're embracing it. They've stepped up, not laid down. If you want to know what laying down looks like, go check the Rangers' fucking results of their games over the past month. That is what crumbling looks like. That is what missing the postseason looks like. That is what not taking advantage when you have a divisional lead looks like. We are not doing that. There's this, what we're doing, and then there's that. Compare the two, please. Please. Would you rather be an Arlington Rangers fan right now? They're completely and utterly defeated. It is over for them. I feel comfortable saying it, even with a month left. It's fucking over. It's fucking over. Is it over for us? No. Does anyone have a reasonable argument for it being over for us? No. So what are you doing? Positivity, people. Come on. You got to bring it to the table. Lay it down. Take it to positive town. And the complaining is breaking me if you can't tell. But yes, this is how it normally works in a division, in a competitive division with more than one good team. And it is freaking some of you the fuck out. And you got to reel it in. You got to reel it in. This is not this is not a big deal. We're doing what we're supposed to do. Thinking about everything I just said, all the injuries, all the bad luck, having 2 starting pitchers in what we thought was going to be a 6-man rotation for the bulk of the first half of the season, we're right here. We're right here. September 11th, and we're 2.5 games up. We're right here. We're doing everything we need to do offensively. And when you look at those numbers, when you look at the rankings, where we're at in terms of home runs, runs scored, team batting average, and you factor in two of our three best hitters missing huge chunks of time, Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, both missing big chunks, and we're still ranking in the top 5 or top 10 in most of the offensive categories. That is very impressive to me. This is a deep roster, deeper than we probably realized up until the last couple weeks, where it's become all too apparent that we are very good offensively. We are better, maybe, when healthy, maybe the best offensive Astros team we have seen during this dynastic stretch. It's yet to be determined, but if you watch the last 6 games, we have been pouring it on. Altuve hit 4 bombs in 6 at-bats or something. I'm sorry, he hit 4 home runs in 4 at-bats. That was an incredible game to watch. That was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, they're doing it. They're doing it, and we need to be behind them. Behind them cheering, not behind them complaining. Please. Unbelievable. I'm starting to realize that just some sports fans, that's the only outlet they know, is the bitching and the moaning and the complaining. It's the only way they know how to participate. They don't know how to say anything good or just enjoy the greatness that you behold, which is what you should be doing at this point, because this is what greatness looks like, overcoming adversity and continuing to produce results regardless of circumstance. That is greatness. That is how you build a dynasty, which they still have a very legitimate chance of cementing this season. If you're looking around the league, there's like 2 teams that should scare you at all, if at all. The Atlanta Braves, the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's kind of it. The Orioles look solid, sure. But come on. It's not like some fucking mountain to climb. If there is, we're 3/4 of the way up it. Couple weeks left. Sheesh. You gotta get on board here. The Astros are doing it. All is well that ends well. So shut the hell up and enjoy the ride. Banana fucking pudding? Banana pudding? Got to be kidding me. That will do it for today's show. But remember, every episode of Banging the Can is available on youtube.com/@bangingthecan for those of you who would rather watch instead of just listen. youtube.com/@bangingthecan. And frankly, even if you don't care to watch the show, if you want to support us, go to youtube.com/@bangingthecan. Subscribe. Goes a long way to helping us continue to grow the show with YouTube's little algorithm or whatever. We would appreciate it. Obviously, we are also available on all audio platforms if perhaps you are strictly a YouTube viewer who at times wants to be able to listen to the show. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube right now, click the subscribe button below. Comment. Let's have some discourse down there. I need to see it. If you're one of the people that's been complaining nonstop all season, fire Dusty Baker, please leave your argument below. I will eviscerate you. It would be my pleasure to respond and tell you how silly you are. Also, please share the most unapologetic Houston sports show in existence with your friends and family. Support our sponsors. This week's sponsor is Bird Dogs, so click the link in the description below to go to birddogs.com/BTC and use code BTC at checkout. They will throw in a free Bird Dogs tech hat with your order. We've got a new bobblehead in the studio this week. It's the Framber Valdez Quality Start Tour bobblehead. 25 consecutive quality starts. It's from last season. A listener or viewer sent it to me. I appreciate that greatly. If you want to send us a piece of memorabilia, a bobblehead, a coffee mug, a fucking newspaper, whatever, we've got all kinds of stuff in the studio. I would appreciate that. Just DM us at Banging the Can on Instagram. That's the easiest way for me to see it. If you DM me on TikTok, I don't know how to find that. I'm 36 years old. Twitter, maybe I'll see it, maybe I won't. I check the Instagram DMs the most, at Banging the Can on Instagram. DM me if you're looking to send us something for the studio, and I will send you our address so that you can mail it to us. We're at Banging the Can on all the social media platforms, at Banging the Can on TikTok to see clips of the show, at Banging the Can on Instagram, Twitter, Threads. We're everywhere, at Banging the Can. Check out my media startup, Bolen Media, at bolenmedia.com. My comedy show, The Ross Bolen Podcast, available wherever you consume Banging the Can. And again, follow us on all the social medias. Tell your friends and family about the show. We're heating up here. Coming down the stretch of the Astros season, Texans football is back. Before you know it, it'll be the NBA again. Rockets will be playing with a new head coach and a whole new look to their team. So we're going to have a lot to discuss the remainder of 2023. I would appreciate it if you'd bear with me. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for supporting our show. I will be back probably next week, maybe at the end of this week. Remember, we've got a hotline, the Banging the Can hotline, the number of which I am looking up as we speak. But call the hotline, leave your takes, leave questions. If you've got questions, I'm happy to answer them. Theories, I guess, if you've got some weird theory about the show. I'm pulling up the number. Bear with me. I wish I could talk through this more easily, but okay, here it is. The number to call is 888-203-2339. You have a 2-minute limit. It's a voicemail. Nobody is going to be there answering the phone. You don't have to be nervous. It's just a voicemail. If you mess up, just hang up. Call back. It's no big deal. I'll delete the one you screwed up and go with your good take. 888-203-2339. Call the Banging the Can hotline. Share your Astros, Texans, Rockets takes with me. Best ones will get played on the show and I will respond to them in the episode. And that's it. That's it. Go Astros, go Texans. Until next time, H-Town, stay down.